Alright guys, how you doing? It's time for another DVD slash Blu-ray update. Um, these are going to be all non-horror titles. Before I get into that, I'd like to do a shout out to Lord Shadow Vortex. He does a lot of out and about videos. And in his latest one, he found this store that was selling Blu-rays for $2, which is an awesome price. There'll be a link to his channel in the description box. Alright, now for the update. Okay, first up, we have Spring Breakers, and it stars James Franco, Vanessa Hudson, Selena Gomez, and Ashley Benson. This was supposed to be Selena Gomez's Screw You role for all her stuff that she did at Disney in the last little bit. But on that front, it was kind of disappointing. Like, she doesn't do anything shocking in the movie, and she doesn't even get naked, which I think most people probably that would want this movie would probably want to see her naked. But well, she is in a bathing suit though, so I guess that's worth something. It's about a group of girls who go on spring break, and they end up falling in with the wrong crowd, which is James Franco's alien character. He goes with he's not an alien. He just his rapper name is Alien. He was really funny in this movie. He did a lot of improv. There's a great scene in his bedroom with two of the girls, and he's going through all this stuff, all his guns and money, and he's going, "This is my shit. This is my shit. Look at my shit." You know, for like a good 5 minutes. I really like this film a lot. I guess Emma Roberts was supposed to be in this movie, but she balked because she didn't want to do the threesome scene. And like looking at the scene, it wasn't really that bad. It was like two of the girls and James Franco in a pool, and you really can't see much. It's like just maybe some side boob, but she didn't want to do it. So, oh well, I guess it was her loss. So, Spring Breakers. Alright, next up, we have The Room. And this is a really famous bad movie. I guess a lot of celebrities now are really taken to this film. I originally read about this film in Entertainment Weekly. This film was directed by Tommy Wiseau, and I guess he had some money and decided he wanted to make a movie. This is a really strange film. It's about this guy whose fiancée decides that she doesn't really want to be with him anymore, so she has an affair with his best friend. There's a lot of really good weirdness in this movie. Most of it does take place in a room for some reason, but most scenes begin people entering the room or leaving the room. And there's love scenes in this movie, but they kind of stop the film dead every time. It's like, it's really weird. Nudity has never looked so boring in a movie. But they managed a way to make it really boring. The one girl here, was it Juliette Danielle? I guess she's supposed to be in, I guess she has a role in the upcoming Ghost Shark sequel that's coming out probably this summer. I don't know. It'll probably end up on Sci-Fi or something. And the other guy who plays the best friend, Greg Sestero, I guess he wrote a book about the movie, which I need to pick up and check out at some point. One more thing I'll say about this film before I go. Tommy was out. I guess he didn't know how to say the word fiancé, so he refers to her the whole time as his future wife, which I thought was really amusing. Alright, so that's The Room. Okay, next up we have a documentary, and it's called Hated. Now this film was directed by Todd Phillips, and he went on to fame for making the Hangover films. And he made this film while he was in college. I guess he must have been a fan of G.G. Allin, because the film was about G.G. Allin. And he had a band called the Murder Junkies, and they were like a punk rock band back in the early 90s. Now, G.G. Allin was famous for always claiming that he was going to commit suicide on stage. We never get a chance to do, which was probably just as well. But from watching this film, it's amazing they even booked this band in the theater and like in bars and stuff like that. I remember one time back in the 90s, he was supposed to play at St. Andrews Hall in Detroit, but the show got canceled, and it was probably because of what he was doing while he was having his shows. Usually what would happen is he'd show up already half naked, and then the band would start playing, and then some part during the show, he would take a dump on stage, and then rub crap all over himself, and then like try to hug the audience, and then later on he'd end up assaulting the audience, like pulling people off the stage, like off the dance floor into the stage area where he'd beat them up and pummel them. And most of the times, like I don't think they actually finished any shows from watching this movie, because like They usually ended, like, all his shows ended up in a brawl, and like it's amazing he didn't get arrested every time. Sometimes he did get arrested. Most times they snuck out the back or something. This is such a strange movie. The music is all right. I used to have one of his CDs, but like his stuff was really, really dark side, like too dark for me. Like the topics of his music, like rape and stuff like that, and you know, sex with children. This is really weird stuff. Um, it's such a weird movie. I'm happy to see it though. It's just messed up. All right. Next up, we have Nude Nuns with Big Guns, and this is obviously a nunsploitation film. It just came out a couple years ago. I have mixed feelings about this film. Like, it is all right. Like, if you're a fan of like nude nuns and then stuff like that, I guess it's right up your alley. This movie's about a group of nuns that are forced to smuggle drugs and stuff, and then they end up trying to steal some of the drugs. And then most of the nuns get killed off, but one survives, and they make her into a junkie and turn her into a prostitute. And then she ends up getting cleaned up, and then she comes back for revenge against the biker gang that messed her up. This is an okay film. I don't know. There's a weird thing in this movie where like the Catholic Church seems to be behind all the drug running in Mexico, which I thought was kind of weird. Maybe they're just trying to offend people. But another thing too, this film kind of ends on a cliffhanger, and I don't know if they're going to make a sequel to this or not. But oh well, what are you going to do? All right, next up we have The Rapture, and this is an end of the world movie that came out back in the early '90s, and it stars Mimi Rogers and David Duchovny, and it's about this couple who are into like going to sex parties and swinging and stuff like that, and then somehow they fall in with this cult that's preparing for the end of the world, and it goes on for there. This movie, I think, kind of split the religious community down the middle. Some people love this movie, and some people hate this movie. The cover art makes it look like it's like a devotional type film, but it isn't. There's a lot of nudity in this movie, and there's people die and stuff like that, and the ending is really kind of ambiguous. All right, guys, let's go on to the next one. I almost ended the video early. All right. We got Bangkok Knockout, and this is a martial arts film. This film kind of reminded me like a martial arts version of Saw. It's about this club of martial artists who can compete in this contest, and they ended up winning. But the contest was supposedly to work on a martial arts film in the U.S., but they end up getting drugged, and they wake up in a warehouse, and they're forced to fight to the death against these other people. This is an okay film. I would have preferred it had they pared the cast down. There's like way too many people in this movie. If they had had like 2 or 3 guys, it would have been better, but I don't know. If I had to pay good money for it, I would have been disappointed in it, but I only paid $5 for it. Alright. Next, we have Positive ID. This is an Anchor Bay release. This is a really interesting movie. This film is about this woman who is a rape victim who learns to get her life back through identity theft. Like, she steals someone's identity, and then she creates a second life. And there's a reason for it, but I won't get into it. This film was a really interesting watch. It's a late 80s movie. As you can see here, it's Anchor Bay. You can still get this film. It's out of print through Anchor Bay, but Universal has it available on its burn-on-demand line. That's all I gotta say about this one. Okay, next up we have Girl in 3D. Now this isn't a 3D movie. The 3D actually refers to an apartment number, and the girl in it actually is a transgendered person, but she's only in 2 scenes, which I thought was kind of odd. This film's about this girl who's an aspiring actress who steals her boyfriend's money, and she ends up on the run. And then she meets up with these record people who want her to be a muse for this Marilyn Manson type music artist, and he ends up abusing the hell out of her. There's like a ton of like bondage stuff in there, but like a lot of the scenes they don't leer, so they put stuff. And there's a lot of weird stuff with this movie. Like the tone's all over the place. Like sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not funny. It's just such an odd film. The star here, I don't think she's made anything since this movie. I checked in IMDb. So I don't know, but it was an interesting watch. Okay, and last up we have Mysterious Skin. This film was directed by Greg Araki and it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Michelle Trachtenberg. This film is about two young boys who get molested by their baseball coach, and then it kind of follows their life from there. Like the one boy becomes a male prostitute, and the other one becomes really dysfunctional, like introverted and stuff like that. And he ends up being believed. He ends up believing that he was abducted by aliens because when he was molested, he kind of blacked out and had, and that's how he dealt with it. And it's about them becoming friends again and stuff like that. I won't get much into the plot of this one, but I really enjoyed this film. I think it's Greg Araki's best movie. He directed, was it The Doom Generation and then Nowhere. I think a movie called Mr. Lonely about a Michael Jackson impersonator. But this is my favorite of his movies, although it's also in some ways a hard watch. Alright guys, that's my update. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.